Okay, our final governor candidate is James Comer, who wasn't able to make it, but he sent Chris McDaniel, lieutenant governor candidate, who will be speaking for him.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for having us here today. It's great to be here and to talk with you. And the commissioner said he wishes he could be here, but he's actually across the state in Laurel County right now. And as Frank said, my name's Chris McDaniel. Most of you know the commissioner. You know his background. You know he's a cattle farmer who has been in the restaurant business. During the off cycles of the farming season, he served as a part-time legislator in the General Assembly, and he's now served for 3 years as our Commissioner of Agriculture. I went to college at the Citadel in South Carolina and then spent 4 years as an infantry officer in the United States Army before I came back home and joined the family business, which is McD Concrete out of Northern Kentucky. I joined the business in 2001. I earned my master's degree in business administration from Northern Kentucky University at nights while I was running the business during the day. And then I bought the business at the beginning of 2008. And any of you that watched what happened to construction in 2008 know that was not a very good time to buy a business. But I did, and we persevered, and I've owned and operated the company ever since. In 2012, I decided to run for the state Senate, and I did, and I won with the largest majority the Republican has ever enjoyed in the 23rd District, and I now represent the 23rd Senate District in Frankfort. And for those of you that are wondering, the 23rd District is Kenton County, from the Ohio River down to 275, which is about halfway down the county. And so I have about half of Kenton County, and I serve on a number of committees to include Military and Veterans Affairs, and most notably, I chair the Appropriations and Revenue Committee, a job that I took over in January of this year, so I now provide oversight for the Commonwealth's budget in the state Senate. I live in Taylor Mill with my wife, Billy, our 2 daughters, and our 2 foster sons, one of whom has a birthday party, so as soon as I get done, I'm headed back to Northern Kentucky to try to take part in that. But, you know, I was honored when the commissioner asked me to run with him, and there were a number of reasons that I think that he has done an exceptional job as the commissioner, and he will make a great governor. And the first of those is he did something that you don't see a lot out of politicians. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He went to Frankfort, and the first thing that he did is he called for a very unpopular audit, because the audit was conducted on an administration of another Republican. But as a result of that audit, they found a level of corruption that was so bad that the previous commissioner is now serving time in the federal penitentiary. But the current commissioner, who will soon be the governor of Kentucky, took that audit as a mandate. And he cleaned up the Department of Agriculture, and it is now the model of efficiency in our state government, and it's the model of efficiency for departments of agriculture across this nation. The second thing that I saw the commissioner do was he came in and he started taking a hard look at what was going on in the Department of Agriculture. And what he realized is we had a fuel lab, and they've been telling the General Assembly for years how great this fuel lab was. Well, when he got to looking, he realized most of the equipment hadn't been taken out of the package yet. We had not made one fuel sample test. So he shut down that lab, he sold the equipment, and he returned $1.5 million to the Commonwealth as a result. The third thing that I've loved about the commissioner is the fact that he's a true fiscal conservative. You'll hear a lot of people talk about their theories, about what they'll do if they get elected. Well, I'm telling you, there's only one person in this race that has a public record that you can look at and that you can prove that he's a true fiscal conservative, and that's James Comer. And what he did, as the chair of Appropriations and Revenue, I oversee all the budgets for all the department in the Commonwealth. And I saw all the constitutional officers every year, the Secretary of State, the Treasurer, the Auditor, the Attorney General would come in front of my committee and say, oh, I've got to have more money. Oh, I can't do it with the number of people I've got. Every year, James Comer came in front of my committee and said, I found a way to be more efficient. I don't need more money. And most years, he gave money back to the coffers of the Commonwealth. The final thing that I like is one of the things you have to do as governor is be able to pass legislation. None of us here want a king. If you think that one man should be in charge of the whole government, let's ask ourselves how that's working out on the federal level right now. The governor has got to be able to persuade members of the General Assembly to vote for his ideas, not to rule by executive order. And I saw Commissioner Comer come in, and take a very difficult legislative proposal with industrial hemp and pass it through the Senate and pass it through the House and have the governor sign it into law. I then saw him go to Washington, D.C. and have it passed into federal law. And then after he had created an industry that had not existed for 60 years in this state, after he had created job opportunities for Kentuckians, when the seeds came to the Commonwealth, they were seized by the federal government. And I saw the commissioner go to court and sue the President of the United States and win. And that's a record that no one else in this race can claim. So the commissioner has a record of accomplishment, a record of achievement, which is necessary in this race. Now, the commissioner and I believe that the fundamental role of government is to create an environment where people can succeed to the maximum of their God-given potential. It is not the role of government to guarantee that success, but to create the environment. And if we're going to create that environment, what we're going to have to do is attract good, high-paying jobs to the Commonwealth. And you can't attract those jobs without attracting good, high-quality employers. And those employers will come to the Commonwealth and stay in the Commonwealth for 4 reasons. The first is a competitive tax policy. The second is a well-educated workforce. The third is reinvestment in infrastructure, and finally is a business-friendly climate. And those are the things that you will see the commissioner and I uniquely focused on as we move through the course of our administration. Now, like I said when I started talking, one of the things that I can tell you is the commissioner and I both have a public record, and I'm very proud of this. We both have a record of being 100% pro-life. In fact, those of you who are here in Louisville might recognize my name because about 2.5 weeks ago, the Courier-Journal wrote a very negative editorial about me and about the fact that I was stalling a bill in one of my committees because of a fear that it could be used to fund abortions. And we forced the Democrat House of Representatives to amend their bill to ensure that none of the funds would ever be used for abortions, because we oppose abortion and we believe that all life is sacred. We have a 100% pro-family voting record. We have a 100% pro-Second Amendment record. And those are the types of views, those are the types of actions which you can expect us to take from the legislative branch to the executive branch as we protect your rights as Kentuckians and as citizens of the United States. So ladies and gentlemen, as I stand here with you today, I humbly ask for your vote. I will tell you that tough times demand proven and experienced leaders. Leaders with a vision for the future and a record of achievement. And with that, we have to know that the only person who should be the next governor of the Commonwealth is someone that I will look forward to being united with you to help elect, and that's James Comer for governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you all very much.
I have a question. If I have a hemp plant growing right here and a marijuana plant growing right here, how can I tell them apart?
Well, there's a number of ways, and you're asking a concrete guy to answer an agriculture question, so understand I might be a little more basic. But your hemp is a dramatically taller product. It has darker leaf colors. The marijuana, to my understanding, is a much smaller plant, and you can also tell through analysis because the THC contents are dramatically different. You could smoke a field full of industrial hemp and get nothing but a real bad headache. And that is one of the major differences. That's why I was proud of the commissioner's initiative. That's why I'm proud of the fact that he is bringing an industry back. We've conducted a harvest of this crop now. We have producers moving here. We have seed suppliers moving here. We have people wanting to farm this on a large scale. I was actually with a farmer yesterday who said that it's his firm belief. He was an older farmer. He said, I will not be here to see it, but in 25 years, it is my belief that hemp will be to Kentucky's economy what tobacco was 2 generations ago. And that's the kind of leadership we need. That's someone who looks forward, who creates jobs, who creates an economy, who creates a way for Kentuckians to have a better life. Yes, sir.
Mine is one that I know that you'll probably agree with, and I believe it's so. But we kind of missed it in a way. But they're sending several tons of marijuana and all kinds of drugs across the border, and they're getting some of them. But there's so many of these illegal immigrants and terrorists that's bringing them into the country and selling them for almost naught.
100% profit.
Well, so so he talks about the issue of drugs coming across the border, and this is where I'm exceptionally proud of the commissioner, because he's someone who's not only accomplished things here in Kentucky on behalf of our citizens, but also at the federal level. He worked the halls of Congress to make this legislation pass, and I am certain that you'll be able to see the same thing out of him as this state's chief executive that you've seen from him as the commissioner of agriculture. He's got a record, he's got experience of doing what he says, and it's something that you will see him do. And you know, when we talk about policies, you know, one of the things I was most proud of with the heroin bill is the fact that we did increase penalties for people that are bringing it in from outside of this state, and we'll do everything we can to work with our surrounding states and to work with our federal government to stop the flow of drugs in this country.
I have one more last question. Why in the devil can't these states pass a law? And the heck with Washington, D.C. We have a right to have our own laws, don't we? The state of Kentucky, doesn't it have a right to have its own laws?
Well, sure.
Okay, why can't we pass a law to not hire people who in this country illegal? If they can't prove that they were born in the United States, or if they can't prove that they came in legally and pay taxes, why do we hire them? They're all over the place. They can't even speak English. They can't even sign their own name at the bank when they get paid.
So what's your...
The girl has to speak Spanish.
What's the question there, sir? I'm just trying to understand.
The question is, why can't we pass a law to keep them from getting a job?
Well, I think that is illegal, actually, right now. Whether or not it's overall enforced is another up for debate.
Where do you stand on Obamacare and also Common Core?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually, as a member of the state Senate, and last year as a member of the Appropriations and Revenue Committee, which I now chair, we were proud to put provisions in there that forced, as David Adams, the campaign manager for Justice Scott, said, would force Kentucky out of Obamacare. Because the fact of the matter is we cannot afford 25% of this state's population on Medicaid.
Thank you very much. That's Chris McDaniel speaking for James Comer.